I'll tell you this. If you're being stubborn, it's because you choose to be stubborn. Okay? You're not born with it. It's not talent. It wasn't injected into you. So it's a choice you're making. I'm going to give you an example since you talked about fitness. I was in Afghanistan 2008. I'm a sergeant major. I have my workout book, which was probably like 4.5 inches over my, then 25-year career. I went to Master Fitness Trainer. Went to all these fitness schools, everything else. I thought I knew everything about working out. Well, in our camp, we had a British Royal Marine Commando, Sergeant Major. It's so funny. His name was Sergeant Major Tweety. He looked like a giant Tweety. He looked like a giant Tweety bird. He was great. And he looked at me, and he was also a physical therapist. And he came up to me and he said, "Hey, mate, how long does your back hurt?" This is my first introduction to the guy. Yeah. So I'm like, trying to be all tough Sergeant Major. "Oh, my back's never hurt. Why don't you go do your thing? You Brit, I got this." And then finally I walk up to him and I said, "My back's been hurting for 10 years. He said,
"Wow."
Yeah. He said, "You're working out wrong." I said, "Excuse me?" He's like, "Listen, you want me to fix your back? I'll fix your back. Take your workout book, throw it in the garbage." So you imagine, wow. This thing was literally 5 inches. So it was my workout Bible. And he's like, "Throw it away." And I'm like, "Okay." And I threw it away. In 6 weeks, my back never hurt again.
Wow. Really?
And hasn't hurt since, because I've learned different ways. And so I had to get rid of my stubbornness.
Yeah, yeah.
I had to get rid of
what was in the book? All the workouts, or you're recording every workout?
Yeah, I record all my workouts. I threw it all away.
Holy wow!
Yeah, and I started fresh, and I learned new ways, and I'm 54 and I'm still fit, and I have him to thank. So, that was a huge step.
That is huge.
I remember a friend of mine, a sergeant-ator, is like, "You just threw your workout book away?" I'm like, "Yep." Wow. And so sometimes that's what we have to do. Yeah. And when we do that, what do is we learn something even better. I was able to be a part of 10 NHL scouting combines and drafts and that sort of thing. And I would sit in these draft rooms and it's funny because sometimes the scouts are like, "Geez, this guy's asking me like a million questions." And I would say, "How do you decide this? What is this?" Yeah. Because it was so amazing to like hear these authentic stories in this, and these subject matter experts, right? That's the thing, subject matter experts. Like Sergeant Major Tweety Silvestri was a
what a name
expert. Tweety Silvestri, was an expert. These scouts, they're experts. So, when you look at that, before we started recording here, we talked about, Ryan Carmichael. Yes. Here's a young man, University of Notre Dame. Like, this kid's pushing me. I'm telling you, this kid is pushing me. I love it.
Incredible individual.
He is on me. He's pushing me. And that's exactly like what you want. And I didn't say, "Oh, this kid's just a, young 21-year-old, whatever." Right. I'm like, you know what? This young man is super bright. I'm going to listen. Yeah. And that's where we continue to have to be. And that's where sometimes executives and coaches, and they get to the highest level, they forget that, right? They forget that they can learn something from somewhere else, right? And be like, "Wow, okay, that's actually really good." And that's why when you're a leader, you should always ask for input. Should always ask for input, because, the Steve Jobs way, even though he was, he changed the world, that's not always the right way. Right. Right. Yep. You have to be an adaptive leader, and you have to be a leader that cultivates the community and the culture. And it's all about understanding a person's drive. It's no different than, some of the coaches I work with, and the coach might say, "JB, I need that guy to play for the logo on the jersey." And I said, "Coach, he's not playing for the logo on the jersey. He's playing for his name on the back," which is not necessarily a bad thing if he puts it in the right place, right? Everybody's doing it for a different reason. So you need to understand and cultivate that to make it healthy and help you get to your goal, which is to be uber successful. With management, a lot of times it's about what? Profit versus loss and a balance sheet. Okay. Where in leadership, it's, show the way, all in concept, know your people, make people better than you. Right. And I think at the end of the day, my friend Jim Ader, Sergeant Jim Ader, great combat veteran from upstate New York, wonderful human being, been in countless incursions behind enemy lines. One day we were talking about the Ranger Hall of Fame. There is a Ranger Hall of Fame that comes out every year, and we were looking at the lists, and him and I were going over it, and I was going through, and I knew some of the people, and he said to me, when are you going to be on that list? And I said, I said, probably never. I just haven't done enough. There's people that are far better than I am, that sort of thing. And he's kind of sat back and he said something very, very authentic to me. He said, yeah, maybe you won't be on the list, but 50 men you trained are going to be on that list.
Wow.
And I said, wow. And if that's how I'm remembered, 100%. I'll take that every single day. Right. And so I think that's the part of being leadership. Yes, sometimes leaders have to be managers. There are times for that. But, a manager, again, is a little bit of that black and white, where leaders understanding that whole all-in concept and wants to help people go in the same direction, not go that way. Let's go. We're going that way.
Right. Yep.
That's what the leader does, and that's it. And if you're a young leader and you're not sure what to do, follow me. That's the best. Follow me.
Yep.
Figure it out as you go. And if you make mistakes, that's okay. Admit your mistakes, show no fear, rebuild, keep going.